This is dirty.
You're telling your followers that you've started that video. Good. I hate the lighting. Can you shut that off? Hey. Hi, everybody. Just checking the lighting here. See if I have any dandruff. No dandruff yet. Still young. So we got a lot of questions today. It's about 10:30. I'm upstate. I'm in my kitchen. Good morning. And I'm having an espresso pulled for me right now. My wife is nice enough to do that. So we've just been cooking like crazy. Good morning, Sierra. We've been having fun. I pulled out a lot of stuff I haven't done in years. What I'm really working on a lot is I used to work at a French restaurant about 35 years ago. I was my sort of Cyril Macchioni, the guy with Alan Syack, taught me how to cook. And so I've been looking back at all my old recipes, and a lot of them are really just fantastic recipes. I haven't cooked them, and so I've been trying to do a bunch of old stuff and really get back into my my repertoire that I learned from. And it's really incredible because all the stuff that I do now is rooted in that repertoire of 30, 40 years ago. All the technique, if you're making a souffle, if I'm roasting a duck, which I'm going to put up pretty soon. I have a 5-part way to roast a duck. So all that stuff I've been really doing and really trying to go back, and all the stuff I never had time to go back and do, I have time to do it now. And I'm pulling out a lot of recipes that you're going to see in my menus very soon. I'm going to have some fun. So we have some questions coming in. Costa Rica, wow, hello. Someone said they're making crepes, and my crepes come out rubbery. Well, that's really a simple fix. First of all, when you mix the flour into your egg and butter mixture and milk, don't overmix it. If there's a few lumps of flour, it's fine. You just barely get it together, because if you don't get it together, if you get it over whipped, you're going to develop the gluten in the flour and the protein in the flour, and it's going to get rubbery, and there's nothing you do about that. So like you make muffins, when you fold flour into a muffin batter, you just fold it in barely till you don't see any flour, and if you see a little few drops of flour, it's fine. Good morning from Ohio also. So I think there's a lot of stuff happening in the world today that's really fun with food. I think that what I've found is that we can get so much food online, and that's what's kind of shocking. I never knew what I could get. And some of my purveyors and some of the people that I get food from at the restaurant who are not in business because the restaurants are closed have really gotten clobbered. And so they've started home delivery. So it's really interesting to see what you can actually go and get now online. And thank goodness for FedEx and all those incredible workers at UPS that we can actually get stuff online here, because it really is a lifesaver. Saves you from going shopping in the market and keeps you really safe. So we have a lot of questions. Wow, let me see. How's lockdown? It's good, My kids are lucky. I think my wife is lucky, although she might be getting tired of me. They got stranded upstate with a chef. Could be worse. I could have been, I don't know. I could have been a bricklayer, which is nothing wrong with a bricklayer because we all need good bricklayers. But I think being with a chef is kind of fun. So I've been looking at, yes, someone mentioned Michael Simon online. Yeah, Michael and I have been doing a lot of cooking online. He's a really good friend. He's out on the East Coast. I'm up north. We're both in New York. We're probably 600 miles from each other. But I've been watching his live cooking every day. He does a great job, very natural. And you really feel like you want to just pull up a stool in his kitchen and share a cup of coffee with him. So I have a question about Malin and Anna, my daughter, their cookbook. Yeah, their cookbook is coming out. It just, pre-orders just hit on Amazon, and it's coming out October, something around 20th, I believe. I'll let you know. But we're very excited. It's called A Family That Cooks Together. It's their recipes, not my recipes. I was lucky enough to try them all. October 6th. That's my wife saying October 6th. So I was lucky to try them all. They're really great. They love it. They did a great job. We actually did all the recipes up here in upstate Buffalo last summer. So it takes, when everybody wants to write a book, it takes 2 years from the time you actually propose a book to a book publishing company to the fact that you actually gets out and stands. So it's a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of work. So I'm very excited about that. Mal and Anna did a great job, and I can't wait till it comes out. We've looked at the blad. It's not quite put together yet, but it's fantastic. Okay, more questions. Wow, show us your wife. Here's my wife, and she's bringing me a really fantastic coffee. Well, that's like a quadruple espresso. Look at that
Happy
sucker.
Saturday.
Happy Saturday. We're getting ready to watch The Kitchen. It's going to be a quarantine edition. Cheers. I'm going to have a little sip. Nothing like a cup of coffee. So we're going to get ready to watch it. I think it's a quarantine edition. I'm pretty sure. We've done 4 or 5. I'm sorry, what's it? The leftovers episode. So what we did is we made dishes, and then whatever we had left over, we got out of our fridge, and we made it. So that's today, the leftover edition. Really good edition. And by the way, leftovers are really incredibly important. Someone said my espresso is better. I'm sure it is. But I drink a lot of coffee, and I've tried to actually cut down on coffee, but it's not going very well. So today's leftover edition is going to be a lot of fun, and I think that we are actually not having leftovers ourselves tonight, but we had leftovers last night. We had a bunch of chicken that was left from chicken breast that I was going to make grilled, and I decided to pound it out. And we had chicken paillard and a very nice salad based upon everything. I had little ends of corn, ends of celery, some onion, whatever sort of was in that drawer. That's a bit and piece that I save everything. I can't throw anything away, which is a habit I got from working in French kitchens. They throw nothing away, and the chef used to come around, I remember, and look in your garbage when you were working next to you. And if you threw something away that wasn't an absolute real piece of garbage, like something rotten or a stem, it was not a good day. He would make you empty it out, wash it, and eat it. Yep. Those weren't the good old days, but I learned a lot. Never waste. And I actually think today, what I took from that experience is never waste anything. We waste a lot of food in this country. Right now, we're grinding under potatoes and tomatoes and stuff in farms that aren't selling. It's really terrible. Anyways, that's another day. What's for dinner tonight? That's a good question. Let me ask the chef. Oh, hi. What's for dinner tonight? We're going to have, I think, veal chops. Let me take a look in the fridge here. I don't know how to turn this around. Do I do that one? Let me see. Which one do I turn? The right?
Bottom right.
No, that didn't work. Let's try that back again. Hey, Marge, want to come over here? I lost my view. What did I do? Sorry. See, I'm not good with technology. Okay, so we're going to have these. This is a veal chop. This is a butcher in Buffalo who has them all packaged, and I bought this frozen when I first got up here, and it's a rib chop. It's 4 ribs, and then I'm going to look and see what I have. I have some really beautiful rainbow carrots that I found. Like, a lot of people don't buy carrots. These are organic biologique, which means it's a fancy word for organic. These are made in the United States. They're yellow, red, purple carrots. And I think I'm doing a little carrot, roasted carrot, maybe with some cardamom, veal chops on the grill. And I made a duck the other day, and the duck was not a duck à l'orange, but the duck had a lot of juices, and I had apple and orange in it, and I saved all those juices. So I'm going to reduce that and maybe put a little glaze on the veal chop. We try to eat simple, 2 things, and one of the things is either a vegetable or a starch, and then a salad if I can find what I need, and if I can't, I don't. So that's tonight. A grilled piece of veal. It's beautiful up here. I don't know where you guys are, what's the weather, but it's beautiful up here, about 60 degrees. Wow. One of my favorite recipes. That's a hard one. Look, I try to do something different every day for the kids of my family, and I keep a book here. This is my book that I write in every day. Let me show you. In real bad scribble. I mean, this looks terrible, but this is sort of the book that everything I write every day, so that I make, I cook. So I did I'm going to read a few. A ragu of beef, with an olive tapenade, tomatoes, and some pappardelle pasta. I made, I can't even read my writing, grilled fire roasted lettuce. I had a lot of lettuce that was like hard lettuce, like arugula and radicchio and endive, and I roasted it really hard, and I made a Parmesan vinaigrette because I had scraps of Parmesan. It was good. You know, anything with Parmesan cheese is good, let's face it. You can put that on cardboard. Some jasmine rice with lemon zest and herbs. I made a ratatouille, a traditional ratatouille. That was one of the recipes I went back. And my son's birthday was a little while ago, and he loves ratatouille, so he said, I want the ratatouille right from the movie, you know, where they slice it and they fan it out. I'm like, okay. So that's what I made, and that's what I do. So from the top of your head, best winter vegetable dish. Woo! Winter vegetable dish. Jeez. Sweet potatoes are really all year round and great. So anything with sweet potatoes, I love. We roast them whole, and then I flatten them and kind of pan fry them with a lot of herbs and spices. That's a good question. There's so many good vegetables in the winter, and thankfully we're coming out of the winter. But you know, it's really something. Okay, another question. So, how do you film the show at your house? How is it going filming? It's actually, you know, normally in the studio we film in New Jersey, outside of Nutley in Montclair, and it's probably 75 to 100 people are on staff between us and the hair and makeup and the editors and everybody, and it's called the Video Village, which everybody is sitting behind a camera watching, and all the cameras. Excuse me, I'll take a cup of coffee. So we went from 100 people to do the additions to 2. So the first person is me. I'm here doing all the cooking, cleaning, shopping. I set up everything. My wife is on the other side of the camera. She does the lights. They sent us lights, and we have 2 or 3 iPhones that we use. So it's very simple technology, but my wife does all the behind the scenes, and she films all the stills and all the second shots and third shots, and we just do it. And like last week, I believe we had the highest rated show we've ever had filmed from our house. Go figure. So the show The Kitchen really has become the show The Kitchen, the real kitchen. Let me see questions. Thank you. All these questions are great. Cleaning. Who's cleaning? I clean. My daughters are trying to help me clean. They do their best, but they're in school most of the day. But I do most of the cleaning. My wife and I do most of the cleaning. But we're trying to maintain a really clean house because it's very important, especially with all this food and commotion. But we are just the 5 of us, so we just do everything ourselves, and we share the load. Will I be doing any Food Network apps? I would love to. I think it's in the works because they're seeing how great this actually is at home and how you could actually do Food Network apps. And for me, I think all the chefs realize they love doing live appetizers, and it's so fantastic to do live and people actually see sort of mistakes. So if they ask us to do it, I would definitely do that. How do you season a roast carrot you're making tonight? Good question. So if I tell people all the time I'm kind of a lazy chef. I like to get a lot of things done, but I like to do it in the quickest amount of time, so I'm going to peel them. There's a couple of ways to peel them. Sometimes you can peel them with running a fresh sponge, you know, that Brillo part over the edge of the carrot, just to get, you don't want to get all the peel off because a lot of the peel has a lot of nutrition in it. So I wash it very, very hard. Sometimes I scrape it with the back of the knife. I keep the carrots whole. I'll put them in a pan with a little water, a little olive oil, some salt and pepper, halfway, and I'll just simmer them covered for about 5 or 6 minutes just to get the initial cook done. And then I'll add some fresh herbs, maybe a little butter, some honey, some cinnamon, and then throw them in a very hot oven and roast them. And so what happens is that glaze forms. And, you know, it's fine if they get overcooked a bit or a little burned. It really tastes great. And I put them on a platter and chop up some fresh herbs, whatever I can find, maybe some thyme or rosemary, drizzle with some sea salt, and that's it. Very simple. A carrot is a very simple vegetable. You don't want to mess it up. So the least you do to it, the best. All right, what else? Oh my gosh, so many questions. You like my frying pan? Thank you. It's a good pan. It's a really good pan. It's nonstick, that's why it's so good, but it's also cast iron. So Actually going to be selling them this tomorrow on QVC. They're really good. It's a cast iron pan, so it's the real deal. And I always try to do stuff when I'm going to sell it that I would do. So I'm going to show you. We have a lot of them right here. That's the 12-inch. That's the fryer. That's my sort of square grill topper, and that's my Dutch oven. So, I mean, these have been here. They live here. And whenever I do pasta, I just pull my my little sort of water from the wall and fill it up, and it's always here. I don't like grabbing pots and pans. I leave them out, and so it's all the stuff I use. It's really delicious. What else? Oh my gosh, so many great questions. I have not visited Malaysia. I'm so sorry. I want to visit New York City. QVC is at 12 to 3 in that time. Someone asked what time it was. Okay, what inspired you to become a chef? What inspired me? I don't know if whatever inspired me is what the reason why I became a chef. I love to eat. I grew up in a Middle Eastern family, and we were obsessed with eating, as Middle Eastern people are. We 3 generations. We had my grandmother, my aunts and uncles, and they all were really good cooks. We didn't have money, but they were always great. They could make something from scratch. As a matter of fact, my mother used to go and get fruits, apples and pears that were rotten and not very good, and get them from the butcher, from the shopper. We would take them, we would grind them up. She would put them in sugar, boil them down, and spread them on top of large tablecloths in our basement and let them dry for 6 weeks. And that's called sort of like that fruit bark or that fruit roll-ups that you see. That was it. So we made everything fresh, everything. And that's where I learned it. So I came out of having that experience, and at 4 or 5, I was kind of not a snob, but I was like, wow, homemade this, homemade that. We didn't really have anything out of a can. My mother was like, no, we cook and eat everything. And so it was really, I just love food and hospitality. And so I went to school for economics. I got a degree, but this overtook me, and I guess being a chef just found me. And that was a long time ago. I think it was the right move. I think. Okay, where are we next with questions? Fast and Furious. Oh, by the way, if you want to see more of my home tips, you can follow me at Geoffrey Zakarian. I put up tips almost every single day, and I try to make sure that they're relevant to where we are all the time, not just now during this sort of virus issue. I try to make sure that these recipes are like foundational recipes that are like, they're not 1, 2, 3. You have to take time to work and cook, but I want to make sure that it's time well spent. So I try to do everything I can do with 10 or 15 or 20 minutes in order so that you can actually really do this stuff. I know there's a lot of things I can do that you probably would never try, but that's what I try to do. So at Geoffrey Zakarian, I have a lot of stuff. How do I cook a ribeye steak? Great question. The key is to a ribeye steak or to any piece of meat is the product. So if you're going to cook a ribeye, you're not going to get a ribeye that is... there's no such thing as a cheap cut of ribeye. Well, there is, but you don't want to have it. You want to, if you're going to spend the money on a ribeye, spend the money to get a prime dry aged ribeye. It's expensive, but so remember, you don't want to mess it up. So what I like to tell people is like about 1.5 inches thick, like that, and you want to keep it room temperature for about an hour before it goes on a very hot pan or grill, probably cast iron. Season it really aggressively before it goes in the pan, 1 or 2 minutes on each side, and then let it rest. It should be 120 degrees. The best way to cook a steak is to rare medium rare, which is 120 degrees. Get a digital thermometer, put it right in the center. When it's 120 degrees, take it off the heat, put it on a plate, let it rest for 5 minutes before you cook it. That's why all the juices will regain themselves and go back in, and you will have a perfect steak. But I always tell people, when the temp is 120, 125, that's when it's done. Okay, I just bought a sous vide. Recommendations. It's, a sous vide, someone said it's a new way of cooking. It isn't. It was actually a lot of years old, but it was really brought to fruition in French kitchens in the 70s. Yeah. And they were big, giant tubs, very complicated machinery. And all it was a huge wand and a very big tub of water that circulated the water at a certain degree, so 80, 90, 100, 120, and it just circulates the water. It's like a giant bath with a fan. That's sous vide cooking. But we put the food in a plastic and we seal it up with herbs. So it's vacuum sealed. And what it does is the protein breaks down very slowly. All the juice and all the herbs stay in the bag and in the meat, so nothing goes awry. So you can actually bring something to 120 degrees, that steak for instance, and once it reaches 120 degrees, it doesn't go any hotter because the water stays at 120 and the meat stays at 120. So it's kind of an ingenious way of keeping something that if you don't cook it right away, it's fine. So we use it in the restaurant all the time. So we take it out of the bag at 120 or 115, and then we sear it in a hot cast iron pan for about 30 seconds on each side, and it's perfect, and you don't have to rest it. That's the beauty of sous vide, and you can do that with everything. It's just about time and temperature. So you just plug in the internal temperature. That's perfect. You put it in the bag, you put it in the water, and it stays. And when it gets up to 120 or 130 or 140 for like pork, it stays at 140. So you can never overcook anything. It's great. How to season cast iron? You don't have to season mine. That's why I made it. It's non-stick. So you can use vinegar, you can use red sauce, you can use tomato, any acid, just soap and water. It's cast iron and it's non-stick. It's kind of great. So cast iron pans, I have them. I don't use them anymore because it's too much work. So that's it. Answer that question. Have you ever had gypsy food? No. I'm interested though. My favorite recipe with basil. My favorite recipe with basil. Basil is one of those things. I love basil and I hate basil. I love basil because it's fantastic, all right? And I have some right here, right there. You see, it's in my little mini herb garden, my terrarium in the kitchen. But it's overused. Basil, tomato, mozzarella is common. I'm not crazy about that combination. I think a lot of basil is very big. It's a very big, soft herb, and it's a lot of power to it. So I chiffonade it, and I use it really sparingly. I don't use it in a lot of cooking with, say, Italian cooking. I think it's sort of overused. I do use rosemary and fresh thyme and all that, and basil once in a while. But I actually think basil is almost better sort of used fried and very finely julienned over a dish just at the end because it's very strong. It's like rosemary if you put too much rosemary in something. So that's a great question. Someone asked on Chopped, who eats the fourth plate? Nobody eats the fourth plate because the fourth plate is called a beauty. And that beauty goes in back. And let me tell you, that beauty is, it gets sat under hot lights and they take hundreds of photos of it from all kinds of angles. So it's 3 for us and 1 beauty, and Ted doesn't get to eat. Once in a while, I'll slip Ted a bite when I think it's really delicious. And I save a little bite and put it off the side of my plate while we're judging. He knows it's good. It doesn't happen often, but he appreciates it. All right. Favorite appetizer? Martini? Have you made Greek food? I make versions of Greek food because what I cook is, I'm Armenian and it's Middle Eastern. So between Italian, Italy, Greece, Armenia, Turkey, that whole area, sort of the same basket. So I do a lot of that stuff because it's almost the same thing. And it's fish, olive oil, capers, lemon, striped bass, lamb. We love lamb here. So yeah, I guess I do Greek food. Not traditional, but all over the place I do. Okay, we have a question. A lot of Italian people watching. Thank you. Go-to dish on a lazy day. Takeout? We do have takeout up here, and we do go once in a while. We have a place that does tacos. It's called the Spicy Pickle, and they do very fresh tacos. It's very small, which I like. And it's run by a husband and wife team, which I like. And they're the only people there, and they're the only people working. And everything is fresh, and they run out, and they close. So that's why I go there. But I'm a sucker for a good taco. Favorite condiment? Oh, vinegar and capers. Yeah. What do you bake when you bake? What Italian dish would you reinvent, and then what do you bake? What Italian dish would I reinvent? God, the dishes are so good. I've been cooking there's a dish called Primavera. My dear friend and mentor, Ciro Macchioni, who just passed last week at 88, taught me how to make Primavera, pasta Primavera. And I've remade it a couple times. I've lightened it up. It was very heavy before. And I think mine is actually pretty good. So, do I bake? I like souffles. I got my daughter into souffles, Madeline, and now she makes them all the time, so I don't have to make them. But it's not something I run to. I am not really a baker, but I do love souffles, and I do love a good tart or lemon tart. Oh, one of my favorite things is a classic lemon tart, a pavlova, or a beautiful angel food cake. So I love stuff that's a one ingredient over the top, like chocolate, a souffle, like lemon in a tart, but like sour, so it's pucker. That's what I really desire. I love tiramisu. Yes, good. That's a very good dessert, tiramisu. If it's made right, and it needs to be made 2 days in advance, but if it's made right, chicken parm. I love chicken parm, Mr. Flay. Thank you for that shout out. Oh, you know the spicy pickle. Yeah. There's another place in Buffalo. What's the place we go in Buffalo to get tacos? Do you remember? I was going to Google it. It's a great place in Buffalo. But I love tacos. My favorite breakfast. I am a breakfast lunatic. What does that mean? It means I don't leave the house unless I eat a full breakfast. Really?
It's Lloyd's Taco.
Lloyd's Taco in Buffalo. Excellent. So I always have breakfast. I insist on having breakfast. I cook a very large breakfast. Breakfast here is like most people's brunch. Very important. Like at 6:37, the table's full. Every day something different. But you know what? It's really important. Everybody gets their belly full. They have good fat, usually avocado, usually some sort of egg, and usually a lot of fruit like strawberries or anything I can find that's fresh. Really important to have breakfast. Your body's been without fuel for 8-10 hours, and you need food. You need food. Oh my gosh, now we're on food. Chicken parm. I like chicken parm. Let me see. How do you make a sugar-free angel food cake? I haven't a clue. That's a good question, actually. It's kind of hard because you do need to whip egg whites, but I don't know. Can you do a special live show on breakfast? I shouldn't I? We do a lot. I love French toast. I know Mr. Flay loves French toast too. He's sort of like, he loves French toast and pancakes. He did a food app on pancakes that was spectacular. And he said something very important, that the first pancake you always mess up. That is so true. It's same with crepes. And the French always say the first crepe that you make in a pan always sticks and is no good, and you give it to the chien, to the dog. Isn't that nice? It's a tradition. So the first one doesn't really good. You know, the butter's too warm or too hot or it sticks. And then the first one is kind of messed up. You pick it off the pan, but the dog loves it. So that's a little tradition that I learned when I was in France. Favorite way to cook salmon? Well, salmon's one of those things you have to be careful for. You can bake it really slowly in an oven, but if you don't have a lot of ventilation in your house and you can get outside and grill it, I love actually grilling it really low and slow. Are you exercising during quarantine every day? I exercise every day, whether it's raining, snowing, lightning, or even on the days where I maybe have had a few too many glasses of wine. I try to exercise. I have a routine that I do here that is just based on body weight and bands, and I brought a bunch of stuff from the city, and I do it myself, and I follow a lot of stuff online, and it's really important. It really takes my mind off a lot of stuff, and it slows me down because I'm always going fast. But yes, every day. We have 1 more minute. Okay, give me a tip for lemon regatta pancakes. Come to my restaurant when it opens because we have them at breakfast there. Let me see, one more question, and then we're going to leave. Sadly, but we have to go watch The Kitchen at 11 o'clock. Hey, Maddie, you want to get The Kitchen on the TV there? What? She knows how to work the TV. The TV we have here is very complicated, unfortunately.
All right, Geoffrey, you got like 10:59 a.m. until 11 to be starting it. You can watch it on The Kitchen for the quality edition at Food Network. So if you're interested, let me know in the comments below. Share video after you just view it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Click the bell to see all notifications about new videos and the latest video. Also, you can check out and see or follow Geoffrey Zakarian's profile on the link at Facebook, Twitter, even Instagram. So as always, thank you so much for watching.